Now, in a fresh update in the Lamborghini accident in Kanpur that left 6 people injured, the lawyer of the accused, Shivam Mishra, has claimed that Shivam was not driving the car at the time of the incident. According to the defense, the luxury vehicle was being driven by Mohan, who has now submitted an application to surrender before the court. The lawyer said that Mohan was also filed a bail plea along an application seeking the release of the car. The defense further claimed that both Shivam Mishra and Mohan were inside the vehicle when the accident occurred, adding that Lamborghini was allegedly hit suddenly by a tempo. Shivam Mishra is currently undergoing medical treatment. As of now, the lawyer has claimed that it was not Shivam who was driving the vehicle. It was another person called Mohan, and Mohan is said to have applied for surrender. This is after in Kanpur, the Lamborghini hit 6 people. 2 of them are being seriously injured, others suffering minor injuries. It has been 48 hours since the crash, but no arrests were made. However, as of now, Shivam's lawyers are in fact fighting it out in the court and claiming that it was not Shivam who was at the driver's seat. He was in the car but was not driving the car.
उस गाड़ी को जो ड्राइवर चला रहे थे मोहन जी, उन्होंने कल कोर्ट में एप्लीकेशन दी थी कि हम कोर्ट में सरेंडर करना चाहते हैं। कोर्ट ने आज की डेट फिक्स की थी आख्या मंगाने के लिए थाने से। आज आख्या आई नहीं है, कल की डेट फिर फिक्स हो गई है उसमें। तो जो ड्राइवर गाड़ी चला रहा था उसने हाजिर होकर के अपनी जमानत कराने का प्रार्थना पत्र दिया और गाड़ी रिलीज की एप्लीकेशन भी कोर्ट में लगी है।
शिवम मिश्रा का क्या रोल है?
शिवम मिश्रा और ड्राइवर दोनों लोग गाड़ी में बैठे हुए थे। जो ड्राइवर गाड़ी चला रहा था उससे एक दिन पहले गाड़ी को बनाने वाले कुछ लोग आए थे और वो उसका ड्राइवर का कहना ये है कि गाड़ी में अचानक साइड से एक टेम्पो वाले ने टक्कर मारी और उसके बाद बगल में मोटरसाइकिल खड़ी तो उससे इनकी गाड़ी टकरा गई। इतना ही मुझे बताया ड्राइवर ने।
शिवम से कुछ बात हुआ था कि किस मतलब
वो तो बेहोश है, वहाँ एडमिट है दिल्ली में।
क्या प्रॉब्लम था?
उनको कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, दिल्ली में एडमिट है, चक्कर अक्कर आया था, जो भी था।
Now, the father of the accused driver, Shivam Mishra, stated that there had been an issue with the Lamborghini a day before the accident, which mechanics had not resolved. He said that the next day, Shivam and the driver took the car for testing. On the way back, Shivam reportedly began to feel unconscious and dozed off. According to him, when the driver briefly removed a hand to check on Shivam, the car slowed down and was hit by a tempo.
गाड़ी में ड्राइवर और शिवम 2 लोग थे।
कार चला कौन रहा था?
मैं नहीं था वहाँ पे, मुझे नहीं मालूम। ये जांच का विषय है। गाड़ी लंबोर्गिनी कुछ उसमें खराबी हो गई थी। जिस दिन ये घटना घटी है उसके एक दिन पहले मिस्त्री बाहर से आके उसने गाड़ी को कुछ ठीक किया, जो भी उसमें टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम थी। उसके बाद में दूसरे दिन शिवम और ड्राइवर 2 आदमी उस गाड़ी को टेस्टिंग के लिए ले गए कि भाई दिन में देखे। आप बाद में प्रश्न करिए, मैं अपनी बात खत्म करूँगा। वो उसको गाड़ी को टेस्ट के लिए गए, सिविल लाइन्स तक ले गए। सिविल लाइन्स से लेके वो धीरे वापस आ रहे थे। उसी बीच में जहाँ ये घटना घटित हुई है उसके पास जब घटना घटित हुई है उसके पहले शिवम को कुछ झपकी आने लगी। ऐसा ड्राइवर को सोचने लगा कि इनको हुआ क्या, झपकी ऐसी लगने लगी। तो उन्होंने उसके एक हाथ छोड़कर शिवम के पीछे हाथ लगाया और साथ में ही सुनिए, साथ में ही उसके साथ में ही जब उसमें हाथ लगाया गाड़ी स्लो हो गई। गाड़ी स्लो होने के बाद में ब्रेक मारा उसने। तब तक एक टेम्पो वाला आ गया, उसने साइड से टक्कर मारी। गाड़ी लेफ्ट साइड रुकी, इन्होंने ब्रेक मारा, गाड़ी ब्रेक से रुक गई। रुक जाने के बाद में फिर वो ड्राइवर ने उसकी अचेत अवस्था देख के परेशान हो गया। गाड़ी उसका शीशा नहीं खुल रहा था। पीछे सिक्योरिटी जो आ रही थी उसने देखा कि परेशान है, भैया आगे झुके हुए हैं, तो उन्होंने गुम्बे से जिस तरीके से तोड़ के उसका शीशा खोला। तो अंदर हाथ डाल के जैसे भी उन्होंने दरवाजा खोला, बहुत मुश्किल से दरवाजा खुला। जैसे दरवाजा खुला तुरंत ड्राइवर भी बहुत घबरा गया था, उतर के बाहर आया और उसने उनको पकड़ के खींचने की कोशिश की। ड्राइवर छोटा था, नाटा था, खिसक गया। पीछे वो लोग जो हमारे सिक्योरिटी थे उन तुरंत पकड़ के उसी बेहोश की हालत में, उसी हालत में उनको निकाला।
तो गाड़ी पहले आई, उसने टक्कर ऑटो के मारी। जब ऑटो टक्कर पड़ी है तो वो गाड़ी जस्ट जैसे मालूम पड़ा कि 200 गुना स्पीड बढ़ गई हो, तो उसने आके जैसे हमने इनको हटाया तो हम लोग इधर गिर गए। तो बराबर ऐसे गाड़ी बुलेट में टक्कर पड़ गई आके। बुलेट में टक्कर मारते वो खंबा था, खंबे में जाकर गाड़ी रुक गई वहाँ पे। बुलेट पर चढ़ भी गई थी गाड़ी। फिर उसके बाद जैसे हम लोग खड़े हुए तो हम लोग बाउंसर उतरे। हम लोग सोचा पता नहीं क्या हुआ है, तो उतने में बाउंसर आए तो वो लोग शीशा तोड़ने लगे हाथ से शीशा नहीं तोड़ पाए तो उन लोगों को ईंटा दिया गया, तो ईंटे से फिर उन्होंने शीशा तोड़ा। शीशा तोड़ के अब आदमी कह रहा ड्राइवर है, तो हम लोग तो जानते नहीं ड्राइवर है कि मालिक है क्या है। फिर उसके बाद उनको निकाला गया, निकाल के जाने लगे। उसमें एक बाउंसर था, वो हम लोग से बदतमीजी भी करने लगा, तो हम लोगों ने उसको खड़ा रखा जैसे तुरंत ही उसके बाद से फोर्स आ गई, गाड़ी लेके थाने चली गई।
मैंने कल भी कहा था, बीजेपी न्याय दिलाने में भेदभाव करती है। उनका न्याय दिलाने का तरीका भेदभाव का है। वो न्याय नहीं दिलाते हैं, हर न्याय में भेदभाव करते हैं।
Well, the father, in fact, saying that Shivam was not on the wheels. He was, in fact, behind the wheels, and the driver who had tried to see when Shivam was not having to be well, that is when he had taken the hand off, is what they say, and that's the time when a tempo had hit the vehicle, and this led to the chaos that happened. The lawyer also saying that Shivam was not at the wheels when the accident took place, and of course intense scrutiny going on with regard to the probe as well. The SHO had been pulled up over this. Meanwhile, it is also being said that it took them 48 hours to in fact register an FIR. For more on this, I'm joined in by News 9's output editor Sneha Koshi. Sneha, this particular story took 48 hours to in fact have some kind of an FIR, and now the lawyer comes and says that another person was at the wheels and that person has applied for surrender. There is a lot of confusion with regard to this story as to why it took such a long time to file an FIR. First it was unknown person, then you have Shivam Mishra's name, then you have another statement coming in, it was not Shivam who was at the wheels. It looks like there's more to this Lamborghini incident than what meets the eye.
Absolutely, Verghese. In fact, let's just go through what we know till now. One, just the manner in which now the lawyer has come out to say that there's a driver who has moved a petition for surrender before the court. This comes just hours after the police last afternoon said Shivam was behind the wheels and he was driving and his name was filed in the FIR. And that came almost 48 hours after, 24 hours after there was this whole furore about how there was no name that was mentioned in the FIR. Look at the sequence of events. This seems to be an entire system that has collapsed. One, to take quick action to follow the procedures that are established. What is the procedure? The first procedure is when there is a hit and run or there is a crash or there is an accident, the person who's behind the wheels is that there's always a medical test done for that. In this case, one, there's an absolute confusion in terms of what is being portrayed about who's behind the wheels. First 24 hours, police did not mention anything. After a whole lot of pressure, police comes out and says Shivam was behind the wheels. His name is taken in the FIR. His name is mentioned in the FIR. And then another 24 hours later, that's almost 48 hours later, the lawyer comes out and says that Shivam was not behind the wheels. Shivam's father, who is a tobacco baron, goes on to say that Shivam was not behind the wheels. It was another driver, and that driver has moved on to court. And if police has said that Shivam was behind the wheels, police is wrong. Now, here's the big questions. When procedures have not been followed, the basic procedures, what are the basic procedures? The alcohol test has not been done. The medical test has not been done. Shivam, he's already in a hospital for a quote-unquote private treatment, which means a lot of medicines would have already been put inside, a lot of salines would have also already been put in. So how is the alcohol levels going to be tested in any case? So when there is a systemic collapse, a procedural lapse after lapse, how is somebody going to find out who is behind the wheels? So the big questions that really emerge at this point is the so-called driver that has now surfaced really a scapegoat for who was actually behind the wheels that police claim was Shivam? That's the first question. Two, the shunting out of a SHO who technically is a senior officer, but really in terms of the higher ranks above him is much junior in comparison. It's just the shunting away of him to police lines, a mere eyewash. That's a very simple question that's coming up in this case. Three, what is this whole hullabaloo about police not being able to go to a private hospital to do what is required in this particular case? How severe, how serious is Shivam that the police cannot go inside a treatment facility, a private hospital, to follow up on a case that involves a luxury car, to a high-profile businessman, business tycoon's son. Is this a systemic failure? At the face of it, yes, it completely looks, because there have been lapses after lapses when it comes to procedures. Now, what is going to be becoming even more hard is going to legally, medically prove who was behind the wheels, because in all likelihood, the tests have not been done. Otherwise, we all would have had access to the tests, and police would have gone on record to say these tests have been done, and these tests are negative. 48 hours, nothing of that is done. Most importantly, Verghese, no arrests.
Sneha, also, as you importantly spoke about those tests, there is a time period in which those tests have to be done, and it looks like that deliberate delay was in fact seen. So procedural lapses is what they in fact say, but it looks like deliberate lapses have been put in place to erase evidence when it comes to the blood tests.
Well, you know, Verghese, at the face of it, absolutely, that's what it looks. It looks, because these are clearly procedures that have been put in place. These are clearly statements, these are clearly laws that have been put in place that have to be followed. And as I said, one, when the crash happens, when the accident happens, it's very important to medically test those who are in the car. That was not done. Eyewitnesses' statements taken on record, not done. Immediate government medical attention or medical attention under police to be given, not done. Bouncers take away the VIP brat in front of everybody, not acceptable. Was the police with them? Did the police go along with them? Did the police follow up with the bouncers who were taking Shivam away? Not done. So these are lapses after lapses. 48 hours in such a high profile case, you don't even have an arrest. And that's the question, Verghese, how will the arrest happen? Because everything seems completely bundled up at this point.
Well, thank you, Sneha, for in fact joining us with all those details. My colleague, in fact, highlighting the kind of lapses that has occurred when it comes to this particular case. It's a Lamborghini that is involved in it, and how there has been lapses when it comes to its FIR itself.